All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University, and today we're playing with Myth Realized Standstill. Now, I realize that both halves of that equation might be a little bit unfamiliar to you, so I probably need to talk about them. Zoom this out so you can see the lands, make sure that looks good on screen. Okay. So essentially, standstill decks are control decks. They say, when a player casts a spell, sacrifice Standstill. If you do, each of that player's opponents draw 3 cards. So essentially, you play Standstill, and you force your opponent to cast a spell. Then you get to Ancestral, and you get 3 cards, which is sweet. And you might ask, well, what if your opponent doesn't cast any spells? That's okay, because your primary win conditions should already be in play, or can be put into play afterwards. Believe it or not, most of the time this deck actually wins with Mishra's Factory. Just the little 2/2 man land. Because you can put this into play, it's not a spell, so it doesn't affect your standstill. So, your primary win condition is just beat someone to death with Mishra's Factory. I know it sounds kind of ridiculous, but that's really it. Myth Realized is the other main win condition. Every time you cast a non-creature spell, you put a lore counter on it, or you can pay 3 mana to put a lore counter on it. Then you can pay a white to turn it into a monk avatar creature with power and toughness equal to the number of lore counters on this card. So, if in a turn you brainstorm, ponder, that's 2 counters. Or, if you just spend a couple of turns casting things like Spell Snare, Counterspell, Force on your opponent's things, and then all of a sudden this is a surprisingly large threat. Otherwise, the 2 other ways we can win are with Snapcaster Mage and Jace the Mind Sculptor. Notice that this deck is relatively light on win conditions. That's okay. That's kind of the standstill game plan, is to make the game go very long, draw lots of cards, and outvalue your opponent. This version of Landstill, or Standstill, is a little bit closer to Miracles than most of the other versions that I've played. So for example, we see Terminus in this list, which is not necessarily stock for a Standstill deck. It's probably pretty good, and similarly, there's a Miser's Counterbalance here, rather than the second Counterspell, which is pretty common. So I'm interested to see how this plays out. Morning, Lasco. So, essentially, in Game 1, we are a blue-white control deck. But we do have 2 red sources for our sideboard cards. 2 different land destruction cards and Pyroblast, just because, answering an opposing Jace is super, super important with this deck. And Pyroblast just hits so many other things in the format. So essentially, about a third of our sideboard is just more counterspells for our combo matchups for when we need to like board out Swords to Plowshares, Council's Judgment, Supreme Verdict, Terminus, that sort of stuff, so that we have enough cards to bring in. And then most of the rest is kind of like fairish stuff. So like we pile these like unfair versus fair. You'll see that the vast majority of the sideboard is for unfair stuff, because you have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards that probably have to come out in most combo matchups. Hence, 9 sorts of unfairish cards that can sub pretty easily. What are your thoughts of the viability of Mythstill in Legacy? Well, I've never heard of Mythstill, so if I were to guess, it'd probably be on the wrong side of viable. I don't know, like 100% sure. It's a Brian Kelly vintage deck. Okay, I see. Merja, if at some point you want to send me a deck list, I'd be happy to like take a look at it and answer that question more accurately. Like, I understand that embalm is a keyword, and I know what it does, but I just can't conceptualize how that's supposed to work off the top of my head. I just don't know those creatures. I judged one Amonkhet PPTQ. That's my only exposure to that set. Okay, so just to kind of like wrap up the deck tech here, we're essentially a blue-white control deck that is going to play a game relatively similar to the game that Miracles would be playing. So the big question for a deck list like this, if you're going to register at your local event, is why should I play this versus why should I play Miracles? Morning, Min. So I don't know that this will actually be like any better than Miracles, but Myth Realized can turn the game very, very quickly. I don't know that like this is going to actually turn it more quickly than, say, Monastery Mentor would, for example. But it looks like I'm going to be able to play a pretty good value game. And a lot of players play against Standstill very poorly, so that should work in my favor. All right, so let's go ahead and battle. So before I get started, I do want to say that this was a donation deck list, and I want to thank Lasco the King for donating for this. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Ah, yes. Here's from where we actually cashed a league with Armageddon stacks. Playing a card because other people will play poorly against it seems like sound Delver Chat approved logic. Agreed. Agreed. Oh, yeah. I don't do midnight pre-releases anymore for exactly that reason. It's really hard to function like a human the next day. And I try not to like waste my mornings as much as I can. I am Falcor. I'm glad to hear that you like my list. Essentially, it comes in against the combo decks and the control decks. So against things... Alright, sorry, let me just say that I'm keeping this hand. I have multiple lands, I have a force, I have a Snapcaster, and I have a potential setup card for later. Judging 2 pre-releases today, that's rough. I'm not even going to ponder this turn because I don't know what I'm looking for yet, and I have lands. The big reason to ponder this turn would be to try to find a standstill to just jam on turn 2. But I think the information to be gained by waiting is strong. Anyway, as far as the chalices go, you're going to be playing those against your combo decks. So things like Sneak and Show, Ant, Tess. You're going to be playing them against control decks like Miracles. And essentially, if you're in a matchup where you can board out both your Mother of Runes and your Swords to Plowshares, and it doesn't really affect the matchup, Chalice is probably good. I did not see that skirmishing. If you give me a TLDR, I can probably say something, though. Alright. I probably don't want Supreme Verdict, but Ponder and Tarn are both probably fine. I'll take the Tarn now to give me the option to shuffle away the Ponder. Oh, by the way, for subs to the channel, I downloaded GIMP and started learning how to do some minor image editing. So the sub icons have changed a little bit. They now have a transparent background, so they look a little bit better. I don't think I want those. Yeah, it seems like my opponent is on either like Sneak and Show or Omnitel or one of the variants thereof. Do I want to just like brainstorm in my upkeep and get rid of this Terminus? Nah. Omnifill, all of the fills, yes. Is it safe for me to just make an attack? I'll still have 3 mana up. I can still pay for a Spell Pierce and double Force. That's probably fine. So Lord Darkview, generally speaking, I agree that Chalice and Rest in Peace are only medium power level cards in the matchup, and I also agree that the Haymakers matter much more than either of those cards, but I still think you need to play... Okay, sorry, rephrasing. If you're running the same general sort of strategy as I am in that matchup, you probably still need to play both of them to support the rest of your cards. Like your cards like Gideon and Cataclysm are going to swing the games way more than Rest in Peace or Chalice will. Kind of curious what the white is for. Hey, that ain't bad. That might force a fight. Belchmaster, thank you very much for your continued support. 7 months is a very long time. Maybe my opponent isn't a show and tell deck. YOLO. I gotta snip that one. That's a good counterfight. Please don't have Jace left. Please don't have Jace left. That is not technically Jace. Wish granted. So, it feels like my opponent is playing some sort of Rest in Peace Helm deck. Well, let's see if we find a Jace. Alright, let's see if we blind flip a Jace or a Force of Will. Yes. Swords to Plowshares. Alright. We died. Oh yeah, I'm not judging, I'm just making an observation. Alright, so my opponent is playing Rip Helm Miracles, essentially. So I'm gonna have, like, a lot of very medium cards in these, and only a handful of cards that I'm really, really going to want to bring in. Helm Combo's sweet. I like Helm Combo quite a bit. Oh, I've played against many a Rip Helm deck in the local shop. And an energy field is problematic. I guess that also means I should, like, bring in Disenchant too. Oh, all right. That makes a lot of sense. Hope you've been well, Dooley. It's been quite some time now. Yes, that is legacy staple from the ashes. Destroy all non-basic lands. For each land destroyed this way, you get to search for a basic. So I want to keep in some number of answers to Monastery Mentor, and I think the one I want is Supreme Verdict because it also pitches to Force. I also don't know if I go deep enough as in to bring in the Beb to fight opposing Rebs and Pyroblasts. uh, I'm gonna mulligan this one. I could probably keep it and find a blue source, but I don't think I want to take that risk. Oh yeah, I'll be doing Thanksgiving at Kirby's, no doubt. That's been really fun the last few years. So any turn where I just pass with mana open now, I can start pumping Myth Realized and turn it into a real threat. Well, my Snapcaster gets noticeably worse here. But I don't think this Rest in Peace is worth fighting over. It doesn't do anything on its own. Ambush Viper it is. Yeah, starting to feel like Legacy. Should feel a lot more like Legacy right now. Rough. Look at that. The lore counter even has a little book. It's cute. Morning, JD. Huh. Well, this is not a good spot for me. I don't think my opponent will trade this Mentor for any of my cards. Yes, their prowess guy is way better. I have the life total advantage, but I lost these back and forth counter wars both times. Maybe I shouldn't have started them. But it felt correct to jam the Jace each time I did. Yeah, now I'm in the realistically no attack situation. I guess I can attack with Snapcaster and trade it for a Monk token. That seems abysmal. I think I'm just going to hold up Force of Will or put a counter on Myth Realized. Morning, Hellclan. I think you were the one that suggested I put transparent backgrounds on the icons, and I got that done. I downloaded GIMP yesterday and got through that. It wasn't particularly hard, I just had to like figure out how to do it. Oh man, with the Red Elemental Blast backup. So now I really need a Disenchant. That'll work. So I think it's actually probably correct to remove the Rest in Peace in case I draw a Snapcaster Mage. Yeah, but I can potentially take over this game if I get a Snapcaster and like Snapcaster's Council Judgment away the Mentor. And if I get rid of the Rip, it also stops Energy Field. Yeah, Schultz, I didn't update the stream title before I went live. So this is Myth Realized Standstill. The Armageddon Stacks choke deck was Thursday. The video's up on YouTube. So the thing about filtering is that if my opponent draws a bunch of filtering, I would just die to the Mentor anyway. So let's say my opponent didn't find Rest in Peace here. I block this Mentor, and I take 4, 8, 12. With any one other spell, I'd basically just be dead. So, like, I don't regret taking the line that I took, because this Mentor is going to beat me anyway. Yeah. Very, very dead. Yeah, Monastery Mentor, real good Magic card. Well, one of the better white creatures printed in years. Although, honestly, it's an honorary blue creature. So, for those of you just turning in, hello, my name's Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University. While we're usually playing D&T on this channel, right now I'm working through my sweet donation queue. And this morning is Myth Realized Standstill, courtesy of Lasco the King. This hand's fine. I have a force if I need to do something immediately. I have a spell snare to kind of, like, gain some tempo back if my opponent is on the play. Or sorry, like, since my opponent is on the play. Yeah. Thoughtseize happens. Probably goodbye, Ponder. I think Chalice of the Void is very good right now. So I'm not surprised that a bunch of Chalice decks like Loam are popping up. Bob suggested that Loam was probably the best Chalice deck running around. So I think that's contributing to some degree to its popularity. I'm just going to hold up Spell Snare and pass. I don't think I want to Ponder yet. And if I need to force something for some reason, I want to do it without Daze being a problem. $12 is the bribery point, Dooley. Details are either below the stream or up on ThrabenU. Yeah, holding up Spell Snare can stop him or the main deck Bitter Blossom. If I act under the assumption that this Spell Snare isn't going to do anything else this game, I'm fine with pitching it to Force here. This isn't a trade that I'd make under normal situations, but my opponent's pretty low on cards. And if they're playing out this Delver, they might actually fight over it. And if they fight over this Delver, then I can Ponder into an answer for it. Ugh. It's not... Eric, who needs to win the game if we can just keep drawing cards? I'm fine with keeping these. I'm going to draw the Brainstorm now. If I have to pitch something to Force of Will, I would rather it be the Brainstorm than the Snapcaster, because I can Snapcaster, Ponder, and look for some other new card. Well, I don't have removal. Yeah, like, either I force this, or I end up, like, trying to force a protection spell that they play on it later. I'm kind of in an anemic situation, unfortunately. Alright, so they force pitching Daze. Alright, opponent, you have a Death Shadow. A second Death Shadow would be rough. Oh geez, Gurmag Angler. Alright. Things are scary. I'm still going to take this Snapcaster Mage. Snapcaster Ponder sounds great. Unfortunately, I know the top card, so that is not something that can occur. I think I want to save this fetch. I'll open myself up to a top-decked Wasteland, though. If I take this Ponder, which I want, I have to take 2 of these 3 cards. I do not want 2 of these 3 cards, so I'll take a random one instead. Well, we got the Ponder. So I'm going to take 5 this turn, go to 12. I'm happy to. One of the reasons I chose this time slot is because there's basically no coverage on during this time slot usually. Even like if there's like a GP or an SCG open, there's something starting later in the day. And the other reason I chose this was so that I could stream at a time so that people in different parts of the world could actually catch me live. Alright, Supreme Verdict is awesome. I can't cast it this turn, so I will just leave it on top of my library, and I'll take the Brainstorm this turn. We'll put back Force, then Supreme Verdict, then Brainstorm. Wait, hold on, do I die? 8. Oh shit, I do just die. So the Brainstorm's on top. I guess I can fetch, then cast Brainstorm and try to find a Swords to Plowshares. A Swords to Plowshares is pretty stellar. So let's say no. I'm not gonna play a land yet. No, I need to fetch. And I need to clear those. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and take a Tundra. If I do this on my opponent's turn and my top card is Terminus, I can mise some value. But if I do it on my turn and I hit another cantrip, I can cantrip and dig for a Swords 1 deeper. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do it now. Lots of lands, yeah. All right, so we want more removal. So Path seems good. Pyroblast hits Delvers. That seems fine. Blood Moon probably locks my opponent out of the game, but I don't actually know that I want to go that deep. Counterbalance on 1 is disgusting, similarly. I probably don't want to play Spell Snare. Council Judgment is pretty slow removal. It would hit a Bitter... maybe I need to keep it for, like, Bitter Blossom or Lily out of the sideboard, though. I probably need to trim a Standstill, maybe 2 Standstill, since my opponent comes out of the gates so quickly. And these forces don't seem like the best either. Like, this isn't an unfair matchup. I kind of want to trade 1-for-1 with my opponent for most of this game. So something approximating to this might be good. Yeah, the random one of Counterspell is only medium. I guess EE is pretty weak as well. That's a very slow removal spell. My opponent will probably only play 1 threat out at a time, so this is kind of like a 3-mana removal spell. Yeah, from the Ashes is fine, but it's very expensive. And it's only good if I've already stabilized the board. So I think I want to do this. This hand does nothing. Like, it has lands and spells, but I can't actually cast any of my spells. Keep. Super reluctant keep. This hand is not good. That can go on bottom. Alright. I'm going to lead on Volk, and I'm going to aggressively Pyroblast the first cantrip my opponent plays in hopes of just screwing them. Well, we don't know if we got them yet. It appears they have lands, so we didn't just screw them out of this game. Oh no, him? Alright, so now I don't have double blue. Am I Mega Boned? I feel Mega Boned. Do I try to race? Like, do I just flash in Snapcaster, attack for 4? I don't know if I have a path to victory if I don't take a risk. If I rip a land, I'll have Snapcaster Pyroblast up, which is nice. But if I don't rip a land, then I'm in just the same situation next turn. Ugh. Yeah, I don't like getting him into Death Shadow range either, but I don't see myself winning. Ugh. Yeah, I'm gonna wait. Super punished for playing out the factory over either of the other lands here. Alright. So now that I haven't, like, gone all in onto the aggro plan, I don't think it's correct to just attack with factory here. Shit. Shit. Just finish me with a hymn. Just end it here. Yeah. Yeah. This is this is rough. I'll take my block. So I think my way out of this involves me drawing planes into a Terminus or Swords to Plowshares to get Gurmag Angler off the table, and then mising a win with a Blood Moon. Yeah, so okay, this is a great start. We're gonna get Tundra here because this can set up like Brainstorm into Terminus. My opponent has a counterspell. This 100% gets counterspelled. That's really good. All right. I think my opponent should have ticked the Ratchet Bomb up earlier. I think the Ratchet Bomb should be at 2 now. I don't know why it sat there on 0 for a turn. Yeah, I don't think I need to like fog the attack with Factory just yet. I think I'd much rather wait to see if I can get it off the table with Gurmagging, or with my Swords of Plowshares at the top, that's on the top of my library. I'm going to do this on my turn, because I'm dead if my opponent can beat this, so it doesn't like matter if I do it during their upkeep to make them use their mana. Yep. I'm feeling kind of like we're clunky miracles so far. Like, I haven't pushed a single point of damage with Myth Realized yet. I haven't resolved a standstill yet. I have fewer cantrips than Miracles does. I have fewer Snapcasters. Not feeling super positive about the list so far. Like, I realize that some of my draws have not been the most optimal, and that I've mulliganed a few times. But this isn't feeling awesome. Alright, like, I guess it would have felt better, like, if, like, in round 1 versus, like, the Rip Helm deck, like, if I had won either of those Jace fights, I would have been fine, but both time my opponent had 2 counterspells for them. And we did get, like, pretty devastated by the him this round. Alright, I have a perfectly reasonable hand, especially if my opponent is a fair deck. I'm going to play this Ponder this turn and just, like, look for land. Hey, we found land. And we found a standstill. Which I'm going to play next turn if my opponent doesn't drop a threat. Now we take our time. What deck is my opponent playing with that set of fetches? Legitimately unsure. That's so many land drops to hit in a row for, like, a Delver deck, though. Alright, so my opponent's some, like, 4-color deck bullshit. So my removal is probably not super important. So now they can just, like, discard a Punishing Fire for value. That's sweet. Not really sure, like, what exactly I'm supposed to discard at this point. Probably cantrips. This is going to be, like, the most boring match ever. Win condition. Oh yeah, there's all sorts of super weird things happening in various places around Twitch. 100% agreed. I can just put in a Snapcaster right now for some degree of value, but that doesn't do a ton for me. I think this is how I'm going to win this game, so I don't want to discard this. I think I'll get rid of a snare, a force, a ponder, and a brainstorm. Yep, my opponent can play around the standstill very well given the nature of their deck. Those will be sideboarded out, I believe, for the games that follow. Also gonna have to do something about this Punishing Fire engine. I think the odds are like 98% that they're playing Dak. How can you not be playing Dak in a deck like that? So this is going to be like a click, target me. I think I just let the click happen. They'll probably take my actual counter spell or my Council's Judgment. I can still answer a Planeswalker that hits play with any number of these cards. I think I just swords this. The information loss is very real, though. Hey, hey. Alright. So my opponent just, like, accepts that knowing my entire hand is very good for them. And doesn't make me change cards. I do require that luck right about now, actually, so thank you. No, I will draw that. That is a fine card to draw. Do I just let this counterspell happen? Because, like, they have these punishing fires to fight over the Jace anyway. Yeah, I don't... I'm with you. I think I just, like, say, okay. This game's all sorts of awkward. Another click. I'm gonna take a peek with Escanta, see if I can find a Swords to Plowshares here. I don't. Take a Ponder. Don't know if it's actually correct to, like, fight over this click. It's possible I should just, like, let it happen, assuming that I will find an answer to it eventually, given my resources. I'm fine with using all of my mana. That's okay. Exiling Dak Phaeton. Wow. Yeah, I'm okay with this click happening. I'm not going to fight over it anymore. I do not want to expose myself to, like, a Planeswalker or something coming down. Like, my opponent can't take me off of Force of Will, so I can still beat, like, something if they don't have backup. And I have no doubt that within a turn or two, I can probably answer this click. Smith realized is going to be massive. I guess I could just, like, cast EE and get rid of the click. It's super mana inefficient. It'd be 5 mana to do that. Is that fine? I can also just, like, Council's Judgment it away. Alright. So I'll go EE, then search, then verdict. Shuffle my library. No. Land. White, white. Blue. This isn't attacking this turn, so one other random one. Supreme Verdict. Blow up that. I still have 3 up for Azcanta, and I can turn Myth Realized into a creature and attack for 7. What does my opponent get? Just Snapcaster Lightning Bolt? Do I care? Yes, I care, because they could go Snapcaster, Lightning Bolt, Myth Realized, double Punishing Fire it, and kill it. God, that's so rough. So their first Snapcaster gets a Snapcaster counterspell. Alright, so they're not going after their Myth Realized, they're just going to go after me. They Punishing Fire me down to 9. They attack me for 4, I go to 5. They Punishing Fire me to 3. They return both Punishing Fires, putting me up to 4. Did my opponent just miss lethal? Okay. So, now I know I have EE on top. I can EE for 2, get rid of both Snapcaster mages. Okay. Yeah, this is still the plan. Come on. Come on. Do it, little buddy. No. All right, I did not expect to win that one. All right. From the Ashes seems okay. Gideon seems great. Morning, Potentia. You just missed a hell of a game. I don't know about Beb. Yeah, it was pretty insane. We sat and stared down with a standstill for something like 12 turns. I ended up winning, but I think my opponent punted unless I did math wrong. So I do not want to play standstills. I learned that after last game. I want to cut some amount of my removal. My opponent has a bunch of clicks. So I probably need to keep some amount of the Swords of Plowshares. Maybe not all of them. So we are playing against sort of a punishing rug type deck with Dak Baden. So I almost wonder if I bring in Blood Moon 2, since it will deal with the Grove Punishing Fire combo, and I only have one piece of Graveyard Hate. Yeah, I don't know what I did, but lots of Dax. I need more time to think about my sideboarding than what I have. Let's try this. This is not playable. I am going to put that Surgical on top. I really want to have access to that card in this matchup. Like, the Punishing Fires can grind me out of the games very, very well. It's a huge problem card. Life from the Loam is also a problem. So I'll probably be fine with just, like, surgicaling that right now. I'll also get a huge amount of information about my opponent's hand. The unfortunate thing is that, like, this Life from the Loam is probably a 1-of. Oh, geez, thing in the ice. Okay. Yeah. Nothing I can do about that. Now I've lost access to the surgical for the punishing fire combo. Really? I should counter Jace? What? I don't think this is a Blood Moon game. So I counter Jace. My opponent... I thought for sure my opponent would force Pitch Force. But I guess not. That's weird. Alright, so... this Gideon does nothing until I answer this Vendilion click, because my opponent can just, like, attack it and Punishing Fire, and then the Gideon dies. So I don't think it's correct to just, like, play this Gideon for a night. Seems poor. Oh, right, they do know I have the Fluster. Yep. Okay. So this eats the Force, meaning that whatever follow-up card I have to try to swing this game back in my favor is actually live now. No, I don't think I have time. So because I'm at 6, and this is a 4-turn clock on its own, a 3-turn clock now, I don't think I get another turn to wait. I think I just need to, like, luck sack into something like Jace. So I can play Jace with Fluster backup, which isn't going to be good enough. I'm going to go ahead and concede here for my clock. I only have 6 minutes left since game 1 took so long. I think I'm pretty dead here. Not 100%, but I think I'm more likely to win another game. Alright, so I know my opponent's deck list. So I know they have Thing in the Ice and Click. So 2 clicks, 4 Thing in the Ice, 5 Planeswalkers. Maybe I'm not supposed to force. And I'm just supposed to lean on, like, my blasts and counterspells. They're keeping all 4 of their forces. I like EE less now that I can see their deck list. Yeah, like, my Planeswalkers aren't great in the face of that Punishing Fire. Let's try something that looks like this. This hand is so beyond awkward, but it has a lot of potential. My plan is to play a Blood Moon probably on turn 4. Alright, so don't want this Verdict. I don't want this Future Mountain. So I don't really have matchup knowledge, so like I can't say authoritatively that like there is any one thing that I need to be doing. No, I want to leave Tundra up as a bluff. That I have access to like more counter spells than I do. If I go and leave up the planes, it like super telegraphs that I have that removal spell. Let's see if we get like super punished here. My opponent just like slams Chandra. Thing in the ice. That's fine. That can resolve. Oh god, how did I transform this? That's annoying. Actually, no, it's not. I have another one. Yeah, that's the problem here. So I want to always yield to it, but I can't always say yes or no. I didn't play Force of Will there to play around like a Flusterstorm or Spell Pierce type effect. Maybe I should have. Because I could just like Pyroblast on the following turn without that much damage being dealt to me. Well, everything is awful. I think I will be dead before I time out. Because, like, Chandra's emblem is just going to wreck me. So it. Yeah. Just, like, blast my myth realized. Alright. Snapcaster can target Punishing Fire. That will destroy this myth realized. And then Chandra gets to ultimate. And that's literally unbeatable. I will, of course, wait until they actually do ultimate Chandra. Because maybe they won't. Maybe the greed will be real and they want to keep it for one more turn. No. Okay. We can concede now. Rough. I have not had Myth realized and Humility in play at the same time, so I cannot actually confirm or deny that. Ew, 12-hour shift. That's awesome. Super, super awesome. Have fun with that. Ugh. Alright, so Myth Realize says it becomes a monk avatar. Alright, I'm not gonna have time to sort through the layers right now. Proctoring and watching your stream. Well, you're super lucky to be able to proctor while watching a stream, because most of the time when I'm proctoring, the instructions I'm given are don't do anything, don't look at the kids, don't walk around, it might make them nervous, don't do anything. Yeah, Grindstone being bugged is rough. Oh, okay. I see. That was a super slow untap. Yeah, there's actually going to be another Applejacks stream soon. 10/6 next Saturday morning. There will be another one. So, I think I want to play my EE here to try to get rid of their counterbalance. That Force of Will is rough. The Orcish Lumberjack deck is super fun to play. I absolutely love piloting that deck. All right. Yu-Gi-Oh! Versus Magic the Gathering. Who will win? That's a very vivid planes. That art really sticks out to me. Someday, I will actually sell all of these planes. YOLO Slam Jace? Can't be that bad. Oh, wow, it just worked. I'm gonna get to shuffle one of these away. So I'm gonna put one land back and a Snapcaster on top in case my opponent wants to try to play a Snapcaster or an Accumulated Knowledge or anything like that. The other thing that might possibly be correct to do is just put my Supreme Verdict on top so that they can't play their own Jace, which would take this game into a whole new level of awkwardness. Alright. I'll get rid of one land, one Swords to Plowshares. We leave the swords on top, so my opponent can't cantrip. A second counterbalance. I guess I can try to counter that. I don't know that it actually matters, but it gives my opponent more blind looks and more information. This game's awkward. Spell snaring this gives me more information about my opponent, though. So there's that. So, like, I can just get a feel for what's on top. All right, so they have an island on top. Don't want that Swords to Plowshares. Let's fetch it away. I really want to find a cantrip before I'm comfortable just, like, starting the Fate Seal train. This is good. This is real good. All right. So I'll put back land, and I guess I want to stop an actual factual counterspell. So put back land Snapcaster. Opponent real good at having lands. So now I can Fate Seal forever. I mean, I basically am Miracles, right? And I'm fine redrawing that Snapcaster. Energy field can stay. All right, so I'll put counterbalance here, standstill on top. I get to draw 3 cards. That's so many cards. I'll take the blind one here. Plains. You can have a Preordain. I will put back 2 lands. I'll fetch, get an island. +2 them, look at what card they have there. They have a Predict. Will I put that on the bottom of their library? Yes. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I want to go ahead and play this out. We will redeploy a standstill, see if my opponent has a second 2-drop there. They do have a second 2-drop. That's pretty good for them. I can't really Snapcaster effectively here. I'll just ponder, set up my own counterbalance. None of this is actually all that good. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. I can discard one. These double counterbalance games are like super awkward. Alright, opponent reveals polluted delta. I guess I can just spell snare this rather than brainstorm. Then I don't have to give up any information about the top of my library. And opponent is done with me. Army Thalia, welcome back. Okay, so Gideon, counterbalance seem good. Blasts seem good. Flusters seem good. Yeah, we should have plus down ourselves. 100% was correct. I knew the polluted delta was there. So I probably want to cut some amount of this stuff for these. Disenchant's probably fine too. Because I know my opponent is like the Rip Helm build since they showed me Energy Field. So I usually don't love Force of Wills in these types of matchups, but I'm not familiar enough with like how Standstill plays the Miracles matchup to know for sure. Or it's not exactly Miracles, like it's the Rip Helm deck. Pseudo Miracles. But I do need to like keep some amount of these for clicks. I do need to like hedge against my opponent having mentors. Shaving Snapcaster Mage is reasonable since my opponent has Rest in Peace. But otherwise that seems like one of the better cards to me. Maybe I'm just supposed to shave Force of Wills. Like keep 4 and a half answers to creatures. And then, like, even though I'm losing on forces, I'm bringing in other counterspells as well. Let's try this. And I still, even if Ascanta can't flip due to a Rest in Peace, I still just love it as a scry engine. Like, that's still fine to me. Great. So, my opponent just plays Counterbalance here. I do have an answer to it available in Council's Judgment, and another one available in EE if I'm willing to wait a turn. But I think I just jam here. Surgical Extraction. Not exactly sure what that is coming in for. My opponent's also a Rest in Peace deck. So there's that. Alright. Phasing Needle resolves. Okay. Now what? Surgical Extraction on standstill. Deal. That does not seem like it is worth a card. Like, I would have just discarded that standstill in all likelihood at some point during my turn. So I have a choice here. I can either just like counterbalance now and try to get rid of, or sorry, I can just Council Judgment now and try to get rid of their counterbalance, or I can play my own counterbalance now before they kind of like get established. I have more cards to throw away. I don't know how exactly that changes the equation. This is more likely to resolve than this. But if my opponent has a counterspell and this gets hit, then I have to like try again when I get to 5 mana, and a 2 or a 3 can mess it up then. Needle is on Jace the Mind Sculptor. Monastery Mentor. Strong. All right, let's see if my opponent gets to blind flip get me again. No, Jace on top. We'll shuffle these. I need to dig and try to answer this mentor this turn. So I guess I can brainstorm now, and if I miss, I can use ponder to shuffle those away. Or I can ponder now. If I miss, shuffle, get one new card. Yeah, so I want to ponder first. Come on. Did not find. So if my opponent has a bunch of cantrips, this gets out of control. My opponent does not. That's very lucky. Very, very lucky. Well, that's scary. So now I want to find Supreme Verdict. I could Snapcaster Council's Judgment away something here. Maybe I just should. Like, I could go Snapcaster into Council's Judgment, remove the counterbalance, try to dodge my opponent having cantrips for a turn or two, and then find one of my two verdicts. That doesn't seem like the worst plan. Oh yeah, such avarice. I'm not sure if, like, just I get one dig spell to try to find and cast it this turn. Otherwise, I can cast multiple dig spells in order to try to get it for next turn. Alright, I think multiple dig spells is better. Swords to Plowshares on top. Alright, now that's bad. So I can just play Gideon and create a creature. Then my opponent uses their turn to kill Gideon. That's not great. So I'll play my own counterbalance. Disenchant the counterbalance. I'll respond. The stack's gonna get big. Yeah, sure, I'll blind flip. I reveal Island. It's not a good draw for me. So they have a 1 on top, so I can't actually cantrip. 2, 4, 5, 6. So I will be dead if my opponent can play one spell. How many tokens does my opponent have? Alright, so my opponent can Sword and Splash with my Snapcaster Mage, put me to 11. Then I'll take 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I think I win this game if my opponent can't cast 2 spells, and I find Supreme Verdict. Yeah, my opponent did get a little lucky this game. I don't know their deck. I don't know their sideboard. I think like the whole bringing in surgical here is probably a little bit loose, but I don't think it's going to matter. All right, so I block this 4, 7, 10. I am dead now. Alright, does anything change with the information that I have now? I do know that my opponent has more mentors. Maybe these are supposed to come in over these. Unsure. It means I'm a little bit less good at picking off things like Snapcaster. I don't like this. I have no game plan. This is a game plan. Humility comes in against things like Eldrazi, Sneak and Show, you know, the Eldrazi post decks. Oh, a Ponder, yeah, you can Ponder. Anytime your opponent has very big creatures or annoying creatures, so like against D&T in particular, you get a ton of value by turning those into 1/1s. Alright, so let's see if I can get lucky with some blind flips here. It's possible on my opponent's end step on turn 1, I should have brainstormed to just kind of like preemptively set up a counterbalance for this turn on like 1 or 2. Scalding Tarn. Alright, none of that. Even though they know about the... Alright, I'm going to brainstorm right now, since I have 2. There's not a lot of lost value, and if I find something like a counterbalance, I can, like, just slam it immediately. I'll put back probably 2 lands here. Yeah, I'm willing to put back land here. I'll play Flooded Strand. If I have to fetch to counterspell, I'm okay with throwing away 1 land. If I don't have to counterspell, I will just draw one of those lands again. Oh, wow. Opponent does not have another land. That's great for me. I'm not going to play this Jace until I can protect it. I'll throw a Myth Realized under the bus, though. It's possible I should have just, like, aggressively counterspelled that and then tried to stick Jace. But that feels unnecessarily risky to me. One top, one bottom. I don't think I need to brainstorm yet. Although if I brainstorm and I find, like, land plus blast, that would allow me to cast Jace. So I guess there's huge upside to doing that. I'm going to pitch the counterspell so that if my Jace resolves, I can brainstorm, find something, and have another force to protect it. So now if my opponent, like, plays their own Jace or Council Judgment, I've got that covered. Yeah, you can brainstorm. No worries there. So now I have my opponent sort of worried from two different fronts. At some point, the Myth Realized becomes a real threat that has to be answered. And so any turn where my opponent taps out or low, I'm just going to nug them for a lot. Yeah, Rest in Peace is fine. These are good cards. So put back EE and Pyroblast. Neither one of those cards does me any good right now. And I think I'll go ahead and just Council's Judgment away the Rest in Peace. Mostly to put a counter here, but also so that if I lose a counter war, I won't just, like, die to an energy field or something like that. So now I have Snapcaster Council Judgment available as something that I can do. Well, and by I mean can do, I mean once I get one more land, I can do it. I have a Jace, but my situation isn't actually all that amazing right now. Like, I'm still very clearly ahead, but this sort of thing is the worry. Oh man, I'm so glad my opponent fetched. Now I can, like, Fate Seal them and know for sure, like, how to beat the counterbalance. I think that was them fetching to play a Jace because they think the coast is clear, and then realizing that Myth realized would just, like, wreck them. Oh shit, that is not what I wanted to do. Super glad I didn't get punished for that. Rest in peace. So I can leave that there and then cast an EE for 3 mana and then not actually care about this. Alright, that's cute. Enjoy your 2 cards, opponent. Alright, so my Jace is going to get shut off, but I have Snapcaster Council's Judgment to undo that, so it's not that big of a deal. Ooh, opponent has named Myth realized. They do not have removal. That's very good to know. Oh, I'm going to have a good turn. I'm going to have a real good turn. Even better if I like Mize a land so that I can like have like Snapcaster for Council's Judgment into Pyroblast. Of note, like this Jace Brainstorm can also change the fact that they do or don't have removal. Let's try to find a fetch land, shall we? Excellent. I'm going to put back the second Myth Realized in case something doesn't work here. Oh yeah, this deck is super fun. Disenchant targeting Myth Realized. Alright, not a lot I can do about that. It seems like poor timing to do this, though, because like now I know to do this. I've already jaced. No, certainly not more fun than Applejacks. Applejacks is like the funnest. Like you just like get to Titania derp so hard. And that's very fun. Sorry, Chad, I'm kind of ignoring you. Time's getting low. So my opponent will hard cast a Force of Will. Nope, they'll just bluff the Force of Will, representing how good it would be. Or not. Or have Force of Will. Actually, your opponent Burning Wish for Jokel Hops? That's pretty amazing. Oh wow, opponent has another Force. That's very good. And I don't have enough mana to Snapcaster Force here, so that all is just going to happen. Alright, so I get to Snapcaster Terminus on my turn, which is pretty good. And my opponent has whiffed here. I would not have played out that land under any circumstances. I apparently can't put a lore counter on that right now. Ah, yeah, okay, I see. My opponent has typed good games in the chat. I'm not going to reply because if I reply, I will time out. Oh wow, good opponent. I've seen people get got before where, like, in situations like this, someone types in the chat good games and you go to reply and then, like, they immediately pass priority and try to time you out. All right, so we got there. We took one down. Chat, I'm going to run to the restroom real quick and then we'll do the final round of this match. Be right back. All right, folks, I'm back. Hello, my name is Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University. We stream a lot of D&T on this channel, but more generally, we're sort of a Thalia and Friends of Thalia channel. Today we're playing a donation deck list. We are playing with Standstill, specifically Myth Realized Standstill. The deck hasn't been performing overly well today, but that's okay. We've got one more round left. We'll see if we can turn this into a somewhat respectable 2-3 from a very rough start. So while we're waiting, I do want to thank my sponsors, Card Hoarder, who let me borrow all of the sweet cards for this deck, as well as Cardboard Live, who has the sweet extension that you're seeing on screen. I'm super excited for Cardboard Live as an extension. I'm really looking forward to their image recognition software that they're training now, so that, like, when you use Cardboard Live for a paper Magic tournament, you can scroll over a card and then see the digital version of that card. They've got a lot of features coming that I'm super, super hyped about. If you ever have any questions about Cardboard Live, how the extension works, what they're doing in the future, feel free to send them my way. Yeah, I think one of, like, the keys to doing well with a Standstill deck is you have to play that deck a lot. So the website went down last night, so I couldn't finish editing it. It will be up within the next couple of days. It depends on whether or not I have evening plans. If I don't have evening plans tonight, I'll probably either knock it out tonight or tomorrow. If I do have evening plans tonight, it'll go up on Monday. I've got a friend who's going out of town, and I'm trying to see him tonight, but if I don't, like, I'll probably, like, either stream again or work on the article. I'm through editing, like, 3/4 of it. So we're close. I kind of got distracted on Friday. When I should have been finishing that article, I downloaded GIMP and I redid the sub badges instead. So that's why the article's not done. But I was just like, I figured it couldn't be that hard to learn how to make a transparent background for the sub badges. It just, like, took me a little while to figure out, like, the lingo of, like, what do I need to Google to figure out what I want to do. Yeah. So just to, like, advertise my own website, because, like, that's something I do. I run a D&T website called Thraben University. Billosaurus Rex there in the chat won a 1K in Seattle recently and wrote up a tournament report for me. And I'm actually going to have some guest content. Eddie Zamora is working on some 5-color humans content for me. because I realized there's not really a home for that content right now, and like a lot of my D&T followers really like 5-color humans as well. So I figured that would be a good use of some of my resources. All right, final round. Can we redeem the deck? E.W. Landon. I guess this is a keep, right? Because I can spell snare the first reanimation spell. Man, I only have one piece of graveyard hate too. Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know E.W. Landon, he's one of the, if not the best reanimator player. End boss for sure. Hey, Felchmaster. Well, this one's probably going to go quick. What? What? That's... Uh-oh. Standstill? Not standstill. He has a draw step stop set for some reason. I'm going to turn my upkeep stop back on before I forget it. I wonder if he's just, like, playing some blue for a show and tell or something, or whether he's actually just, like, playing a different deck. Like, maybe he's just playing some Grixis Control right now. I also think it's his birthday. It is his birthday. Well, we'll stare at each other for a little while until something happens. It feels like this is Grixis Control. I would be up for some World Gorger combo. What? All right, well. I guess if you don't want accumulated knowledge, that's some tech. Alright, I don't want to play this Mishra's Factory yet and give away the fact that I'm a standstill deck. But at the same time, if my opponent taps out for a Jace, I'd like the flexibility of being able to attack it at some point. I guess plan 1 is Council's Judgment it, though. Yeah. Let's just keep playing lands. Alright, I don't know what Eric's doing over there. But I'm probably not supposed to cast this Jace. Flashback, think twice. Alright. I wonder if he's some sort of weird 4-color control deck. For the green to be worth it, there has to be something like Assassin's Trophy or Tireless Tracker or Abrupt Decay in there. I don't really know. Yeah, Leovold is another one that would be worth the splash. Yeah, I have not cast a single spell this game yet. Am I fine with this? I kind of think I'm fine with this. I don't really think that's worth a card. We'll float a mana, though. All right. That's a great draw. All right. My current theory is that they are a Snapcaster Mage Assassin's Trophy. Culligan's Command, Baleful Strix deck. That's the current theory. I don't really want to cast this Jace until my opponent, like, counters something. They've got to have counters over there. Or something. Leovold, that's fine. I will ponder, though. Oh, yeah. Super looking forward to From the Ashes. Well, this wasn't the plan, but it's happening. All right. Let's go. This, shuffle, no, fetch. That's fine. So it looks like by like waiting on my Jace, I did play it around a Spell Pierce, which is pretty cool. Do I want a Jace? Yeah, I won't fetch the last basic out of my deck. So I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, play Jace around Spell Pierce or Snapcaster Spell Pierce, and also hold up Spell Snare. I accept. Brainstorm, see if I can find my own force. Awkward. Snapcaster Mage, which will get Spell Snared. Seems a little weird to force that. But maybe his last card is a Jace or something like that. What is this? What is this? I don't know what Eric is doing, but I do not like it. Oh boy. Spicy. Yeah, you can draw a card. I have no need to troll Eric. So I could cast Supreme Verdict and then Snapcaster Ponder to try to end the game this turn. But that seems a bit unnecessary. I don't think I can lose if I just, like, hold up my Snapcaster Mage for another turn. Nah. I could just, like, double pump here. But something like an Edict would get me so hard. Or no, I guess an edict wouldn't. Electrolyze, that's fine. Yeah, like going all in and losing to a push seems terrible. Agreed. So if my opponent gets push, or sorry, if my opponent gets to resolve the Strix and like they get Force of Will to stop my Snapcaster, then I just Supreme Verdict, kill the Strix, and crash in with Myth realized. Oh yeah, I am down with this greed. I have a feeling Eric just sat down today and was like, today is my birthday. I am going to play all of the fun, greedy cards, and we're going to get people. Because that sounds like a good thing to do. It would not surprise me to see a Bird of Paradise on the other side of the table. Alright, so I for sure want these two cards. They seem insane. Gideon seems great. All of my blasts are probably good. Like, I'm not 100% sure that the blue elemental blast is actually good. But there's probably like some Chandras or some bullshit like that in there, right? It feels like there should be. So it looks like my opponent has a ton of card draw, a decent number of planeswalkers, and a good amount of like value-based removal. It's our opponent's birthday. It's Eric Landon's birthday. One second. Okay, so I probably want to trim on removal spells, probably not cut them completely. Because like I can still get picked to death by Baleful Strix, Snapcaster Mage, and friends. The other counterbalance is probably pretty good. Some number of the forces should be trimmed. Maybe the blue elemental blast is too ambitious. This would leave me with 3 sweepers. That seems a little removal light. But I guess it's fine. Maybe I should play like one of these just as like another decent Snapcaster target to get things out of the way for Myth realized. Actually, maybe that's a reason why I should play 2. Something like this. I don't have an initial, like, very strong card here, but assuming I continue to make land drops, like, Jace is very good. Spell Snare seems to be good against, like, the potential 2-drops my opponent can be playing. I probably won't ponder on turn 1. I'll probably just play Island and pass. So this ponder doesn't matter. I'm going to make it look like I have one land, see if my opponent will counter it. Opponent will, in fact, not counter it. I like the idea of drawing the Flusterstorm. These other two cards are whatever. Okay, Eric says that the other side of this matchup is going to go on YouTube later. So I'll be able to watch the other side of this and see what's going on from his side of the matchup. Yes, I believe it is just like EW Landon on YouTube as well. All right, so I don't want these lands. Let's fetch those away. I'll just fetch an island here. Again, playing towards like Blood Moon from the Ashes as an easy win. So I'm just going to put this into play and then pass. I don't really need to ponder yet. And now I have like, I acquire a little bit of value each time that I cast one of these counter spells in my hand. Spell Pierce it, huh? Do I fluster this just because I can? Seems greedy too. But Eric seems to think this is quite important. I'll bite. Alright, I am in a good position, but Eric could untap and play some terrifying big stupid thing. Or just like Assassin's Trophy my Jace. Yep, okay. I guess I have to like get used to that play pattern of like Jace is not safe against an Assassin's Trophy deck. I could have, like, waited till 6 to prevent that and just, like, double cantripped, hit you with Mythrealize. Alright, so my opponent gets back Strix, I discard a card. I guess I'll discard a Brainstorm. Ooh, do I want a second Mythrealized? I kind of do. Ooh. Yeah, okay. I'm in. That was a pretty decent turn. I was fine with that series of events. Alright, so this Baleful Strix happens, but I get to draw 3 cards. The second Baleful Strix is a little annoying. Now the current game plan is just, like, terminus both of these away. Or EE them away. That's fine, too. Alright, so we have beaten our opponent. I am going to concede to them. Because I am dead for prizes. Alright. So I'm gonna give Eric a second to go ahead and jump into the stream, and then I'll do my debrief. Yeah, right. Like, so there's no value to be extracted by me winning that match, right? It is only just negative value for Eric, and Eric's a cool guy. He produces some good content. I'm glad that he started to make content, and his deck's sweet, and I would love to see that deck list get published. So Eric said that he will be putting that all out on YouTube later, which is super exciting. So you can find him under E.W. Landon on YouTube. Okay, yeah, thank you, Hell Clan. So his video from right now will be up there in just a little while. Okay, so let's debrief this deck. I think as a whole, this is a slightly clunkier and less consistent version of Miracles. And I think the difference is that when this deck is winning, it is winning by absolutely huge margins, right? Like those times where like I wipe the board and then cast a standstill, or I have like a myth realized or a chase and then I cast a standstill. Like I get pushed so far ahead by standstill in the games where I'm ahead. However, standstill's a relatively rough card when you're behind, and because this deck has fewer cantrips than Miracles does, it just feels a little bit clunkier than when I've played Miracles in the past. About 2 or 3 Myth Realized probably feels right. I know that card is very powerful and it won me a lot of games, but it is just like bad against dudes, right? So if I played against something like Death and Taxes in the early game, that Myth Realized would have not necessarily done anything. And Myth Realized is a card that sits there for a very long time before it actually starts winning you the game. So you don't necessarily need multiples. So we went 2-3 with this deck, which I don't think is necessarily a bad finish. We played against like a large number of control decks. We're really more looking to play against like the aggro sort of decks, which is fine. I would not be comfortable taking this list to a very large tournament, like, say, a Star City Games Open or a Grand Prix. But I would be very comfortable taking something to this to my local shop for a weekly, and I think I could do pretty well for it. I'm going to have to watch the VOD of, like, half of this stream, because I fell asleep from exhaustion from the pre-release. Sounds about right. Lasco, thank you very much for your donation and making this, this stream happen today. So just to flash the upcoming schedule real quick, so we just did the Mythstill list. Monday, we've got a Blue-White-Red Stoneblade list that features Keranos, which I quite like. Then Thursday, we've got a donation for Red Prison. And then next Saturday, we've got the Applejacks deck, the Orcish Lumberjack deck. Julian, you should stream now. I'm actually just getting ready to call it. So I'd be very happy to host you if you're looking to get started. If you're looking to get started, I would recommend firing it up now. All right, folks, do you have any questions for me about this deck or my Thraben University content or anything like that? I'm going to buy a little bit of time for Julian. So let's get a couple minutes of Phil Q&A time. What do you want to know, chat? If I wanted to make this deck better, what improvements would I make? I want a second actual factual counterspell, and that second counterspell might be better than the first counterbalance in the main deck. Like, a lot of times when your opponent cracks a standstill, you want to be able to respond immediately with counterspells. So counterbalance doesn't actually play towards that. So I would want a second counterspell over counterbalance. I'm also not sure if 3 Terminus is too many. I might even consider one more, like, Spell Snare or Spell Pierce or something over Terminus 3. If I cut this counterbalance from the main deck, I don't know what ramifications that would have for the sideboard, though. But those would be my initial first thoughts. Phil, related to D&T, are you brewing ideas for going wider? Can you share your thoughts with us? I've been considering, like, legitimately trying a different creature suite in D&T, and I wonder if some cards like Blade Splicer might end up being oddly playable right now with all of the Miracles and Grixis Control running around. Or I wonder if there is a possibility of actually going a bit bigger and playing more 4-drops and trying out some things like, Thought Not Seer, Restoration Angel, Hero of Bladehold that previously just have been on the wrong side of playability for being a bit slow. Right now, we might be in a time where you can play a handful of 4-drops and it's perfectly fine in this metagame. Hi Phil, are you planning on putting a mono-white DNT versus Grixis control on the website? Struggling with this matchup a lot locally. I believe I already have one. I believe it is written for Check Pile, which is basically the same deck. Yeah, so most of the advice I have written under my Check Pile matchup will apply to the Grixis control deck. So that's what I would start with as your starting point for understanding the matchup. But more generally, don't worry about having trouble with the Grixis control matchup. That matchup is very difficult. That's every D&T player's question right now, is how do I make that matchup better? My current answer is take large risks. That's the best I've got. Going back to the Mythstill deck for a second, someone in chat suggested that dropping the red might make it better. Dropping the red will make you softer to opposing Jaces and eliminate the free wins that you get off of these two cards, but it will increase your stability otherwise. All right, chat, it looks like Julian has gone live, so I'm going to go ahead and send you over to him. Again, my name's Phil Gallagher. I run Thraben University. I'll be streaming every Monday and Wednesday night at about 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, and every Saturday morning, time slightly variable. If you've enjoyed this content today, please consider doing something to support my channel, whether that's, subscribing, donating, following. This was one of my donation deck lists, and I think people had a lot of fun with it. I had a really cool last match with EW Landon in chat there, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see the other side of that match, please check out EW Landon on YouTube. That video will be up later. Cheers, folks, and I'm going to go ahead and turn you over to chat after I answer this last question here. Phil, I recently started to grow my local legacy group. Any tips? Yes. Set up days where you play with proxies if your store does not have a sort of scheduled legacy time. That's very important. And 2, if your store has a legacy event that fires, bring loner decks. Bring your copies of Burn. Bring your copies of Death and Taxes or other decks that you can just kind of leave in a box and bring to those events to get people playing and interested in legacy. That's one of the best things that you can go and do to grow your local scene, is give people decks to play, put cards in their hand, and let them see how sweet Legacy is. They'll come back. All right, I'm going to turn you over to my good friend Julian, who's going to be streaming some Legacy. So, Walete Omnes, goodbye, everybody. See you again on Monday.